So as time passes, I'm sure you can see how tired I've gotten. But now we're moving on to Al Farabi. Uh, so he is a person that has predominantly dabbled in political philosophy and has made himself into a sort of philosopher king, following in the footsteps of, was it, I think, Socrates? I'm not really sure. Anyway, this is the sort of biography of him. It's basically a sort of merge of ancient Greek philosophy with modern Islamic philosophy. Uh, and apparently, Ibn Sina could not understand Aristotle's metaphysics and only understood after Al Farabi created a book about it. Even though he was an Islamic guy, even though he was a Muslim, he took the fact that he was a philosopher over the fact that he was a Muslim and decided to go with magic logic first. He viewed Socrates, Plato, Aristotle as infallible imams, and he believed in essential unity. Well, these parts really don't make sense. They're not too important. Even here in the review, you can check for yourself as well. It's I think this is better than my week 6 actually. So just look at this. I'm going to be continuing from here. So Al-Farabi posits that there are 10 layers of heavens or 10 layers of intelligences. The first intelligence comes right after God, which is the first cause. The God falls down, creating, what was it? Hemispheres. Is it heavens, I guess? Spheres of intelligence from the information or the divinity that is flowing from God. First comes the first intelligence, which comes right after God. And then comes the second intelligence, which corresponds to the divine sphere. And then comes the third intelligence, which is the fixed stars that you see on when you look outside, basically. You can really understand how much I'm not getting this guy through my inability to explain, but I'm trying to explain to the best of my capabilities. You can even skip this. So, and then comes the planets, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, according to the Ptolemaic astronomy of the time. Ptolemies were ruling Egypt at the time. Shout out Hamza. Comes the 10th intelligence, which is the moon, which is the active intellect. It serves to actualize the intellect of humanity in the sublunar world below. Lunar means moon, so the sublunar world is the earth, which has the physical elemental realm: fire, air, water, and earth. Avatar. So the main logic is that there's a first cause and things start flowing from it, ideas, intelligence starts flowing down from it, thereby making it possible for everything to stay in place. Like a part of the intelligence is leaking down, so the system of the universe is not breaking down. This will then be used to explain why Farabi needs to be in charge of Medina. as far as I can understand. This guy is quite a bunch of an elitist. So, the microcosm of the heavens says that the celestial world above the moon is eternally harmonious. Harmony. Al-Farabi designed his perfect state, Al-Madina Al-Fadila. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing anything. To be a microcosm of this cosmic hierarchy. So it should be a teeny tiny version of that hierarchy, he says. Just as the first cause regulates the cosmos, the philosopher ruler regulates the descending ranks of the citizens to mirror celestial harmony through right actions. So he says, put me in charge, or he doesn't, of course, say me, but he says, put a philosopher king in charge so that he may waterfall his intelligence down to the sub philosophers down there. So he's creating class division because he's an elitist guy. That's how it works. He says that humanity cannot attain perfection in isolation, which is true. We humans are not self-sufficient. The Medina is defined as the smallest possible perfect society, making any smaller group inherently imperfect. Because when you have a city, you have anything, you have to be self-sufficient. When you have a village, you don't have power plants, for example. That's his reasoning behind it. It needs to be completely self-sustainable. Al-Farabi established a hierarchy of understanding where philosopher, which are the elected one, grasp truth through demonstration, while masses understand these same truths through symbolic imitation. This framework enshrines the supremacy of reason over revelation. When we translate this to English, it means we philosophers are smart enough to grasp truths through demonstration, through just seeing them, through just thinking about them. But you, being the peasant, being the layman that you are, you can only understand them through revelations. So you're not smart enough to come to the conclusion that these are how things should be. You shouldn't be good. You shouldn't sin. You shouldn't kill each other because it's immoral and unethical. But I can see this, but you cannot. So religion. That's what he's saying. Religion precedes religion in time. Philosophy precedes religion in time. And religion is a vital, temporal tool used to convey complex philosophical truths about the cosmos to the masses using comprehensible symbols. Because religion is culturally specific, there can be multiple virtuous cities with different religions pursuing the same ultimate end. That's the thing. In this system, the philosopher, the first ruler, the lawgiver, and the imam are fundamentally the one and the same. So this guy again says, give me all of the power. Let's not divide anything. Because if someone can become the ruler, if someone can become the lawgiver, and if someone can become the imam, and if someone can become the philosopher, then they just deserve to be up there. That's the thing. So religion is being used to convey complex topics to the layman, and you should put Al-Farabi in charge. That's basically the thing. And there are 10 heavens. What was it? There was an important summary of it. Yes. Divine sphere, fixed stars, planets, and ends at the Earth level, which is the most important. I'm sure you can see how much I don't really understand this. Again, I'm saying it again. When we draw comparisons to Aristotle's happiness, the absolute good pursued strictly for its own sake, good and evil are defined by this person. So now we are moving on to ethics of happiness in Al-Farabi. He says, anything that's evil will hinder your happiness, and anything that's good will be useful for attaining that happiness that you also dearly seek. And he says, there are two lives and two perfections that you strive to achieve. Well, happiness can be found in this world. Supreme happiness is attained in the hereafter, when the soul reaches a level of perfection where it no longer requires physical matter. So it says, when you die, you become perfect. At least that's what I understand. When you look at hierarchical happiness, the level of happiness an individual attains is tied to their natural excellence and societal class. Elitist, as I said. For example, the prophet attains the highest form of human happiness. So this guy is saying that if you were not born bourgeoisie, or I guess if you were not born a natural leader, then you can never achieve the amount of happiness that someone that was born a philosopher can achieve. Which could be true, to be honest. When you think about it, I can agree. But yeah, that's about the gist of the things that he's saying. So, in short, think of it from an elitist perspective, and you can probably find out about the rest.